This episode of Super Pulp Science is brought to you by Ninja Versus, available on Kickstarter right now. Hiya!
Attention, citizens! It's time for Super Pulp Science.
This is Super Pulp Science, where we talk about how genre gets made. We have a remote guest on the show today, and so I'm in my secret headquarters, and George McHale is in his secret headquarters, and we are bringing you some breaking news on a new and exciting, and if I dare say, slightly self-aggrandizing project of George's, because I'm involved in it, and so it would be silly for me not to promote it. Here we are on Super Pulp Science. George, thanks for coming to the show.
Gregory, thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to be here.
Ninjas. We're going to talk about ninjas today. Tell me why you like ninjas so much, George.
Well, I grew up in the 90s. My brother's name is Raphael. So Ninja Turtles was a big part of our lives. That came out. I was obsessed. All my dogs are running around. I was obsessed with Ninja Turtles. I had TMNT shaved into the side of my head. I watched it. I did. Yeah. I watched it every Saturday morning. I had all the action figures right away. I didn't even know what they wore, and I liked them. Like, they had swords and bow staffs, and I didn't even know. Like, I got the toys right away, and I was like, who are these guys? I was
But you
calling
got the
Donna,
toys before the show or the comic or any knowledge at all.
pretty much. I was calling Donatello Donahue for the first month. Like, it's just, I was just instant, and not just the turtles, but also the Hand. These were like the ninja guys. They kind of got done wrong a bit.
Yeah, if you see those ninjas that are they're the foot. Right. Yeah, they're the foot. See, because it's Frank Miller. Okay, so for the dear listener who does not know this, I'm going to drop an oft-cited, so forgive me if you've heard this one, the original Ninja Turtles comic by Eastman and Laird. They include the origin of the Turtles as the same origin as Matt Murdock Daredevil. The same scene where Matt Murdock pushes someone out of the way and the ooze gets on him and turns him into Daredevil. That same ooze turns this group of turtles into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's kind of an Easter egg moment. And in Daredevil, the real popular comic at the time, Frank Miller had included a group of ninjas known as the Hand. So, of course, the equivalent ninjas in Ninja Turtles were the Foot Clan. So this is where the confusion may lie, but it is intentional in many respects.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. From there, it was, Shinobi as video game. I love Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris, Jackie Chan, just all this martial arts stuff. Surf Ninjas, Three Ninjas Kick Back. It was just, it was a lot of ninjas.
I have to ask you though, did you read Preteen Dirty Jean Kung Fu Kangaroos?
No, I did not.
You got to dive into those bins, dear listener and George, and look up the competing title, Preteen Dirty Jean Kung Fu Kangaroos, or also, if you'd like, something geriatric black belt hamsters. Also a good one.
I remember when I was a kid, we lived in Quitlam and in an apartment building, and I had this awesome like tree fort. It was really just like a big bush, but you could walk into it and climb on things. And I was like, this branch is my couch, and this branch is. Anyways, I'm out in the yard, playing in this tree fort, and I found a real metal throwing star
In the tree.
and just in the dirt. And I was like, man, these ninjas, they're out here. And yeah, I thought like this was like going to be a real big part of my, kind of like quicksand, like when you're a kid, you think quicksand is going to come up. I also thought like ninjas would be like kind of more, I guess they are involved now, but up until this point, not a lot of ninjas in my life, but
I have to ask you,
more.
were you aware? So I'm from the 80s. We're a slightly different generation. And so my favorite ninja show was called The Master. I mean, I really liked Kung Fu: The Legend Continued, the old reruns of that, but that led me into The Master, which was a story about and I'm essentially paraphrasing now because I don't have access to master content in my life, but it was this old ninja master who was teaching a young ninja, and then when the young ninja would get into trouble, the old master would show up, and he had like a butterfly emblem, and they'd always do these close-ups on him, and as if memory's serving, it was probably some exploitation involved. I don't know if either people were Japanese. I don't. Since it was American television, it does not hold up. Let's just make that sweeping caveat that if you go looking for it, I was 10 years old or whatever, and so it's not my fault that I liked it. But ninjas, man, I would have immediately assumed if I had found that ninja star in the tree that an old grandfather ninja was waiting for me to do the right thing and was watching me right then.
Yeah, it was kind of a big moment for me.
So you're holding this throwing star, you're up in a tree, and a passerby goes walking on the path. So you immediately do what?
That was the moment I became an assassin, shadow assassin. Throwing star to the jugular. Yeah.
Oh my god. So obviously we're talking about a ninja project of yours, but before we get there, I want to address something that I think the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles creators also had to address at a certain point. George, ninjas are bad.
Are they?
They're bad. No, there's no are they. Like, I'm pretty sure, having spoken to better representatives of Japanese culture than you or myself, ninjas are not viewed in this necessarily high esteem in the culture or history of the Japanese nation. Why is it that everyone in the West is obsessed with ninjas?
I think it's the mask. I think the mask is a big part of it. It's like you don't know who this person is, right? And then they got hoods on too. Hoods are cool. They know kung fu, martial arts. They hide in the shadows. They don't talk a lot, you know. So there's some mystery there, right? Like who is this guy? Why does he know what he knows? And yeah, I just think it's cool stuff, dude. And as far as like historically, were they bad dudes? Yeah, I guess like being an assassin or a mercenary for hire isn't like the best, but I guess it depends on who you're getting hired to take out.
It depends. So you're saying that, and by the way, we should also clarify that it would, of course, be ninjutsu, not kung fu or karate. It's their own shadow arts. This I remember from the master, right? Their own shadow arts. You must become balanced in order to use all this evil. And they said did such a great job of making them not. I'm having some flashbacks to my own childhood where it's like now that I'm with a modern eye thinking about that grandfather who is a ninja. That means he spent most of his life murdering people who didn't know or didn't see it coming. And now he's supposed to be this like great father figure for this young kid. Problematic. So you like that they strike from the shadows, that they kind of have a superhero ethic, the mask, the code, the vibe, the being called upon, but they're like they are not typically the hero of the story.
Well, it can be, I guess. It just depends on the story. Another one I really loved was Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe was a badass. And he was mute too, which just made him cooler. Man, like,
Isn't it canon now? Isn't it that he's not mute, that he took a vow of silence?
I think so.
Yeah. So he could
I,
talk, but he doesn't talk because he's that disciplined. Whereas Storm Shadow never shuts up.
I played with my Snake Eyes action figures so hard that, the little elastic band inside
Oh yeah.
the G.I. Joe that like connects the pelvis to the body and the legs. Well, that elastic band broke because I was I was killing too many Cobra. And Snake Eyes continued to fight on, like with no pelvis or legs.
The
Just
hero of my G.I. Joe collection was not, in fact, intended to be a hero of anyone's G.I. Joe collection. It was the Crimson Guard figure. I thought he had the coolest outfit. And so I played him until that elastic band broke on the inside. And then I tried to fix it with a series of twist ties, like ever tightening them until his torso would close. It was awful. It was never the same again.
A Jose Canseco bat? Tell me, you didn't pay money for this.
Ooh, that's it. Just do for one sale, pal.
What's funny about this is, okay, so our childhoods were infected by ninjas. No other part of the culture from those Eastern islands reached us except the, like, basic surface patina of, like, cool outfits, neat weapons, and a code.
Yeah, that time. That time. I just
Ninja
it
really
was enough though. That was enough.
I remember that.
Sorry?
It's a horrible movie if you watch it today. It's bloody awful, but so good at the right time in my life to see ninjas with magic powers do ninja things.
Which
So,
one was that?
Ninja 3, not to be confused with Ninja 1 or 2, but Ninja 3, The Domination. I have not seen Ninja 1 or 2. I only saw Ninja 3, The Domination, and I will not sully that memory by watching the other movies.
There's some great. I remember American Ninja. Um, that one was wild. The ninjas have like laser beams at one point, and that they shoot out of their eyes. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, look, you get your breath just right and your training just right from your ancient grandfather, you too can shoot laser beams from your eyes. I don't know if you knew that was true.
so we filmed a video for this Kickstarter,
I
and it
saw
was
that video.
this. That was a little embarrassing. So it's me
A little.
in the Japanese gardens here in Kelowna, and I'm doing like karate kicks and punches and kicks, and I got the whole ninja getup, and it was bad because like normally the Japanese garden, like there's a few people having their lunch break, there's a couple people, unhoused people kind of hanging out
Wedding
there.
photos, perhaps.
On that day, prom photos, dozens and dozens of like high school kids coming to the Japanese gardens to take their photos. And there's me and my friend Ivan, just like I'm doing kung fu and Ivan's taking pictures of me. And these kids are just like, what is this like old chubby guy doing?
You're living your best life, George. You're living your best life.
Yeah, we did some special effects too for the video. Like I have like a smoke bomb where I like disappear and then I reappear. There's some movie magic there. We even did cut in with me having some like ninja laser eyes at one point, but I didn't want to put it in the video that I put online because it was just
There's too much of it.
way too silly. Yeah.
A little too silly. Um, you really are living your best life. A lot of ninja stories start with like a tragic accident, a rebuild of the body, and then and then a ninja costume, and then a call to action. This is like also your story in comics, really, right? Like you've come back from the brink, and now here you are living your best life. So I don't think you should make any apologies for recapturing any glimmering joys of your youth for these, and then trying to share them with people. So this is a great way then to talk about the project that you and I worked on. My great failing of you, which is that we had a project called we have a project called Ninja Kill Squad, and it was homeless because I'm a bum and I never finished the full length story that we talked about. So we cobbled it into a short one. Then I went rogue on you, like a ninja should, I might mention. And then you wrest in control of the clan back, like a ninja should. And then it is going to appear now in a project, a larger umbrella project that you took on called Ninja Versus. So this is our big long segue into the fact that Ninja Versus is now live on Kickstarter, and you have a whole cadre of fellow creatives and ninja mercenaries at your disposal to dispatch justice, quick cuts, and fun comics. So rather than turn it into a full commercial, dear listener, what I told George, because we don't need to do that, that's not really what the show is about. I'd be more interested to talk about your table of contents. You have a pretty great list of folks on here, and they all come from different corners of the comics world, many and varied. And I would love it if we could go through that list and you could tell me, I don't know if you want to do it as a lightning round, but I could like say a name and you could tell me the story of how you met them and how you ended up doing comic stuff with them, and then how you convinced them to join your evil ninja versus army.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's
Did I just
just
throw
get it
names
here.
at you?
So like I've got a murderer's row of like shadow assassins on this anthology. So I'm pretty psyched about it. And it is like a lot of just like friends from the like comic book community. Um so I guess the first one I should talk about is John Delaney. So John is a comic book artist who previously worked on Justice League and Simpsons and Futurama. And when I was first wanting to get into comic books, um, I thought it would be nice to make a book with somebody that was local. So I started looking up, like, well, comic book creators in Kelowna, and I saw that John lived in Kelowna. And so, like an assassin, I tracked him down, and I found that he was at the Kelowna Art Gallery.
I was gonna
He had
say,
a
isn't
show
it
that.
like literally that you tracked him to where he would make a public appearance and then like hovered around in the crowd?
Well, he's not quite that great,
Hard on the
fat stalkery. I looked at I Googled him and said, "Oh, he's got a show on at the art gallery right now. I guess I'll just go down there and see if I can chat to him." And through that, we went for coffee, and he ended up hiring me to work at his comic book company called Comic Stream. It was a digital comic book app. It had all original content, and it was pretty crazy because I had went from writing my first book to contacting my first comic book artist to working at in comics, getting like a monthly paycheck, all in a few months. Like it really just kind of took off right away. And John's been great. John's been like a mentor to me. He's had lots of advice about how to make comics and things I didn't know. And he's been great to work with. And so John also has a secret love of ninjas. So when I asked him if he was interested in being part of this book, he's like, yeah, he's like, my mom had paintings, like Japanese artwork up in the house. And he's like, I would, think about like samurais and ninjas doing battle like all throughout my childhood just based off of these paintings. And so he's like, I would love to be part of this book and kind of do something that's, for his mom and her love of Japanese culture. So this is the story that he's been working on, and it's great. It's a big one too. It's a 14 pager. Kicks off our
Because
graphic.
it's an anthology, right? So we all got only so many pages. How many pages totally are in the anthology?
It's just over 100 pages.
So in 100 pages, we all had to make quick cuts. He got the big one.
Yeah. Yeah. And so from there, while I was working at Comic Stream, I met you and through Connor McQuarrie and in Vancouver after a Comic Con, just wandering the streets of downtown Vancouver looking for
Can
someplace
I
to.
tell you? Can I admit to a story that I've told secretly, but now I have to tell publicly because we're friends?
Sure.
Can I tell you this story? I'm going to unburden myself to you, George. So we went out to a restaurant, right? After you said, hey, we'd like to talk to you about this. Connor introduced us and we were going to go out and pitch some ideas to Comic Stream. And I suggested a restaurant as if it was off the top of my head. But I guess it was Saturday. It must have been the Saturday night. And I had been in Vancouver since Thursday and I'd gone to the same restaurant every night. And I had gotten to know the staff there pretty well. And we got on pretty well, and I had stayed quite late, like after closing a couple of nights in a row there, just hanging out with the staff and getting to know them and talking about the job I did and hearing about their creative things. And so I was sort of in tight with them. And I called them and said, I'm having a I'm having a meeting there, but I don't know if these guys like me or what they're really doing. And so like, can we give us a nice table and like, could you, zhuzh it up a little for us? And one of the guys there who works there said, I'll do one better. You make sure that in the middle of the meeting, you get up and go to the bathroom and all come and pour water at the table and hear what they say about you. And then I'll tell you after. So we
Yeah.
performed like a ninja move there where it's like vetting the strangers and they performed this entire operation. And here we are.
Boy, we missed you. It's a Kodak moment.
So we left the
So
restaurant, right? I walked around the block and back into the restaurant and then stayed there for the rest of the night hanging out with those friends I had made. And they were like, "Oh, I don't know. They seem like pretty good guys. They're not totally all in on your idea though. So like you may need to do a little bit of work." Like when you got up, they were like, "I," one of them was like, "I don't know." And the other one was like, "Yeah, I think it'd be pretty good." I have to imagine that the guy who thought it was pretty good was you, George. I have to imagine.
yeah, yeah, I was an advocate for your bucket comic stream, and
I didn't mean for it to turn into a whole thing, but they got all into the espionage of it, and then I was just caught. It was like I couldn't tell you guys that this was happening around us, and I had to carry the story through all the years until now, and now I've unburdened myself.
yeah. So from that, we did some work with you at Comic Stream, and then uh, I reached out to you after that saying, "Hey, I've got this story that I had created for my Cover of Darkness book, which is kind of like Game of Thrones meets the classic monsters." And I wanted to have giant monsters like kaiju, and kaiju. A lot of them are like that's a Japanese word. They're from Japan, and I thought like it'd be cool to have these giant monsters fighting ninjas. And so I worked that into my monster book, and you were a massive part of it, illustrating that short story for Cover of Darkness and expanding what I had written and like stretching it out and making it longer and better and cooler, uh, which is very awesome of you because you know you you were like you were commissioned to do a job and you're like, no, I'm not just going to do a job. I'm going to come in and I'm going to try and like put my stamp on it and make it as awesome as I can. And you really came in and like delivered on that story. And so we had that was our first ninja story that we did together, and it's part of this anthology, ninjas for fighting giant monsters. Um, and then we were doing a convention,
Wait, wait, wait.
icon.
This is breaking news for me. Are both my ninja stories going to be in this anthology?
That's right. Yeah, you have two stories.
That is going to. I'm sorry, fellow creators. I didn't mean to take up so much of the book.
No, it's sad. They're lucky to have it. They're both very cool. Yeah, and then we were doing a convention together in Winnipeg, the Icon, and you were like, George, we should do some more ninja stuff together. And so we made a plan for
We broke
ninja.
out. We story broke that in an entire ridiculous '80s love letter romp. And what actually caused me to fall out of love with it is that the more I looked into what happened to all those '80s action stars, the less I wanted to put a spotlight on any of them.
Uh,
One of them rhymes with Mevin Fatal. I would never want anyone to think that I ever held that man in high esteem. Poor, young, naive teenage Gregory may have, but older, wretched Gregory says, no, don't do it. Don't do it.
I love 80s action movies. Yeah, so we had an idea to do kind of a ninjas versus commandos story together, where kind of the ninjas like the predator hide in the trees and the commandos are walking through the jungle, and the ninja kind of picks them off one by one. It's like a horror movie slasher, really, like with the villain just quietly waiting in the shadows. And yeah, and we started jamming on that, and we had a big story, and then after kind of some false starts on it, it's like this story doesn't need to be so big. It's kind of a simple concept. Like, why don't we just make like a really cool short story from this? And that's what we did, and it's awesome. I'm really proud of it. I really like the Ninja versus Commando story that Ninja Kill Squad became. I think it's exactly what it needs to be. I think it's exactly what it should be, you know?
It also features one of my favorite heroes of '80s action cinema, which appeared in a lot of knockoffs and, of course, in a main franchise, but the red headband. I think that the real star of that series of pages is just the red headband.
Yeah, I agree. Headbands are cool. Muscles are cool. Machine guns, swords, katanas, throwing stars, bow staffs, all that stuff is you get all of it in Ninja Versus. Let's see who else is part of the team. The lovely Francine Delgado. She is a comic book artist who has previously worked on the Adams Family. She's done covers for Ninja Turtles,
Whoa, whoa,
backgrounds,
whoa.
and
She did covers for Ninja Turtles. Your obsession with Ninja Turtles. I gotta ask you, have you bought any of her original Ninja Turtles art?
yeah, I have quite a bit of her artwork in my nerd.
I thought I'd
Yes,
see you on the spot and shame you into getting some, but unfortunately, didn't work.
yeah, no, and she did a Gambit for me, X-Men's Gambit. We were doing a con together, and it was pretty slow. And she's like, "Who's your favorite X-Men character?" So she did me this Gambit, and it's like my prized possession. It's so good. Um, Francine's one of the first people I met in comics. At like my second or third convention I ever did, we tabled next to each other, and she was pretty new to comics too. She had more of a background in animation. She actually is working on the new Ice Age movie that's coming out here.
Did
And
yes, break her NDA?
no, I did not. It's been announced. The Ice Age movie's coming out. And she is very good at her NDAs too, because she told me that she was doing some work for Disney, and she would not tell me what the project was until after it was announced. So she is very good. And I did ask her multiple times.
So she won't crack under pressure.
Yes,
She has the important ninja training to get to.
that's true. And her story, I can't spoil what her story is in the book because the ending reveals who, because it's called Ninja Versus because each short story has the ninja taking on a different type of opponent. So John Delaney's Ninja versus Samurai. You have the Kaiju story and the Ninja versus Commando story. But Francine, I can't say what her story is because that's kind of the whole point of it is what she's going against. And
Okay,
it's revealed on the last page.
oh, cool, cool.
It's very gay.
Wait, I have a link to that Dropbox. I can spoil it for everyone right now if I'm careful. No,
No, don't do that. Yes, and then her partner in crime, Ito Salazar, is doing a ninja versus light story, which is very meta and cool. It's got kind of a spy versus spy sort of vibe to it, with like ninja, like literally battling like sunlight. And it's crazy and strange and perfect. Yeah, Ito's a great guy too, and I met him through Francine, and they're a lovely couple, and we're very lucky to have them as part of this book. See who else do we have? We have Sean Daly. Sean's an amazing artist. He is the creator of Samurai Grandpa, and he's
sorry.
it's, it's an awesome book. And he's also done work for big IPs like Power Rangers and Yojimbo.
That
And
Usagi Yojimbo is I love the Ninja Turtles, but I've probably read a lot more Usagi than I have Ninja Turtles. Usagi, I have too many Usagi collections, and then my kids found them, and that made me when and they loved it. But then at a certain point, and for people who don't know, dear listener, Usagi Yojimbo masquerades as if it is a all ages kids book, and it is. There's nothing in it that your kid cannot unsee. But the storytelling is actually so nuanced, and there are so many really poignant, really graphically perfectly emotionally rendered twists and turns in Usagi Yojimbo story. A story about a samurai rabbit should not be so compelling, but oh my gosh, and a huge cast of characters. So I did not know he worked on that. In what capacity? Like doing backups or doing covers or
yeah, Stan Sakai.
Sakai?
Stan
Well,
Saki.
sorry,
I
Stan. Your work is amazing, but I'm a Kamichuk, and I bet you've never said my name right either.
don't- um, so he loves Sean's work, and Sean's been kind of handpicked to illustrate some Usagi Yojimbo stuff. So that's yeah, it's quite the honor. And
I got
yeah,
chills.
so we're very lucky to have Sean, and his story. It's like a ninja that is out for revenge after his clan's been. It's like the ninja like laments. It's there's been 136 of this clan has been murdered. Unfortunate for this, the assailants, there was 137, and it's like this ninja's like revenge story. But then he turns out to
Sounds
be
exactly like an 80s or 90s action movie scroll.
The turtles are four once again, and yet still not whole. A lingering doubt remains, an unknown which they can't bear to face. Their greatest fear.
the ninja finds the people who've taken down his clan, and it turns out to be like a role playing game, like a video game type character, like Final Fantasy type stuff. And all of a sudden, the ninja can't move because it's not his turn. It's very like this type of concept. It's
Very meta.
yes, and it's fantastic, and it's very funny and smart, and Sean's illustrations are incredible. Let's see, who else do we have on the team? We have Chris Brooks Morris. Brooks, this is artist name. Brooks is an awesome talent. I found him on Instagram when I was first getting started in comics like 7 years ago, and
He worked on
Brooks,
Resilient with you, right? And Cover of Darkness too.
yes, he's done covers for both those books. He did for my very first project I ever had. It was called Fire Engine Ready. Did a cover for that. That just blew me away. Um, and he's mostly been, doing his artwork and posting on Instagram, and it's dynamite. And I was like, do you want to do like interiors or comic book? And it's like I've got this short, like it's a 6-page story. It's called Ninjas versus Aliens, and our ninja gets I wrote it, and the ninja gets abducted by a spaceship, and it basically turns into Die Hard, but Hans Gruber's an alien, and our ninja's John McClane.
Die
And
Hard on a flying saucer.
yes, and it is. I really love this story. It's so much fun. There's basically no dialogue, like at all. It's just the ninja's thoughts as he's going through this spaceship trying to figure out how the hell he's going to get off of here. Um, it turned out really great, and Brooks's style is just it has like so much energy to it, and like the ninjas are just posed in these almost Spider-Man-esque kind of like positions, and his artwork really, really shines, and he like painted it as well, and it turned out fantastic. We have Hannah Bricknell. Hannah, I met on a podcast. I was doing this thing where I had to do a live drawing on the Retroologist show. I guess it's a YouTube show because you could see what we were drawing. And Hannah, I think, was 17 at the time. And I was like, really, there's like about a dozen of us on this show, just live drawing and talking about comics. And I was really impressed with Hannah's artwork, and like especially with like how quick she was, because like we were given like 5 minutes to draw this, I don't know, ridiculous situation that the host would like come up with, and mine looked like chicken scratch, and there's like Hannah like turns her page around and she's like, yeah, I do this. It's like, holy smokes, that's great. And so I remembered her from that show, and then I've seen her at some of the comic book conventions. She's just getting out there. Just she just graduated from high school recently, and I was having a hard time. So I'm making a movie. Movie's called Night Terror.
No big deal. Just this aside, by the way, George is making an independent horror feature. Carry on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like The Office meets Friday the 13th. And I had created my shot list, and I was drawing my storyboards for my movie, and it was taking me forever. And it's like I knew what I had in my head, but I wanted to be able to show everybody on the crew. It's like,
Let's
okay, this is what we're
let's not
doing.
jump over this because I know a little. This is a leading question. How many storyboards did you personally draw for your film Bible?
Well, I probably drew like 300 storyboards for my project. And then I tried to rope you into it too, and I was at your house for the weekend. I'm like, yeah, we'll crush this in like a weekend, and we got like 2 scenes done.
But we burned, I don't know how many pages we did. We did a lot of pages.
It is a lot of work, these storyboards. So I reached out to Hannah and I said, I remember how fast you were when we were doing that live stream. I'm like, have you thought about doing storyboards? And she's like, actually, I'm going to college in the fall um, to work in animation. I was like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, would you be interested in doing some storyboards for a movie? And she's like, I would love to. And so I sent Hannah my shot
That
list,
kind of
and
thing where if I had got that call at 17 or 18, or I guess she's going into school now, so it must be 19 or so, right? I probably would have quit school and just chased whatever. It's good that no one gave me an opportunity like that, actually.
she crushed it. She really visualized, and so now she did over 800 storyboards
Jeez.
for the movie, and it worked out great because like this was like her summer project that she worked on last year, and it was a good price for me. I'm working on an indie level budget, and but I was able to like help her with like paying her tuition and her books for school in the fall. So she was really happy to do and it was fantastic work. It was a win-win. And so then when I was thinking about Ninja Versus, I was like, I should reach out to Hannah. Like she was just great to work with on the movie. Let's see if she wants to do some comic books. And she really crushed it. We did this Ninja versus Robots story. And it, this was her story. I came in and I helped a little bit with the dialogue at the end, but she put together this banger of this ninja story at then they're taking on these robots that if you love 80s stuff like Terminator and RoboCop, you're gonna love this little ninja versus robot story. It turned out great. And let's see, who else do we have on the team? Um, Jason
Get over the
Lapkus,
idea that somebody who is in animation got to pay the tuition by drawing. That's
is pretty
amazing.
cool, right?
Yeah, that's killer. Hold on, I'm gonna check your list. Make sure you didn't forget anyone. You got John Delaney. We talked about Sean Daly and Francine Delgado, Jim B. Kimijek. That's that guy. Ito Salazar. Oh, I am going to give you such a hard time, George, because you forgot Peregrine's illustrator, Jason Lapidus. I cannot believe. And you know what?
I was just saying that. I was
He
just saying, yeah.
such nice things about you at TCAF.
Oh,
He's
did he?
gonna stop. He's gonna stop saying nice things about you now.
I did not forget about him. I was just getting into it.
You can say recently, I did something just to spite you while I was at TCAF. This is a perfect time to tell you. Hold on, I gotta find it in my camera roll. Oh yeah, here they are. So he was feeling bad because he was behind in his Ninja Versus pages, and they are incredible. And he said, I even have pages here that I haven't shown George. And I said, perfect. I want to take pictures of them so that George will always know that I saw these pages before he did. So here they are, George. Here they are, my friend.
So he's got him. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the book is like 100% done except for Jason's pages. I have not
Which I can confirm are so amazing. And so you have nothing to fear. They're coming together great.
Jason's the nicest dude. I tabled next to him at a show in Toronto, and yeah, I had my wife there that weekend, and it was just me and Jason and Jolanda hanging out and chatting comics all day, and yeah, I had a really good vibe with him, and I really really like his style a lot. Um, yeah, and like so he's a good dude. He's got amazing art style.
And we're
And
additionally, so can I also say that one of the reasons why it takes a little longer is because there is incredible original art on real boards. Perhaps one of the few real artists left in comics. There's so few, they're all dwindling. All of us with our dumb digital tricks now. There's few people slinging ink on boards. Man, they're so good.
yeah, I would compare Jason's art style to legendary like Mike Mignola, the creator of Hellboy. I see a lot of similarities there. Um, I am a very big fan of Jason's, and I was very excited when he said that he would run Ninja Versus. And I threw out some ideas. I'm like, oh, you could fight this or you could fight that. He's like, no, I've got my own story I want to tell. It's like ninja versus an adventurer, like an Indiana Jones type character. And he's like, I have this story in my mind that I want to tell. And I was like, all right, man, do your thing. And I've seen some of the pages, not all of the pages, but they look fantastic.
I haven't seen all of the pages. I just know I've seen more than you. That's all I know. He was actually feeling guilty about it, and I asked him, "Don't send him to George yet until I have a chance to hold it over him."
You're a natural, sis.
Thanks.
So Jason just came off of doing a Kickstarter for another book. It was the Penegreens series that he does with the group of 7. And I think it was on Crowdfunder, actually, not on Kickstarter. So he's just came off of that, and he's been busy fulfilling that and working on that project. But he's almost done his Ninja Versus Adventure story for our Ninja Versus book. And yeah, I'm very excited about it.
So you got all these folks together. You've got the Kickstarter live now. I'm gonna just quick check. At time of recording, there are how many days left in the? We got 22 days to go. Like pretty close to the needed pledge amount, but it's kind of a like a mutual fund of comics, right? Like the more that people back it, the more copies and pieces of it the creators get to then rep at shows, which then puts more money in their pockets. So, dear listener, if you like ninjas and you want to back Ninja Kickstarter or the Ninja Versus Kickstarter, every extra dollar over the thing goes immediately to help all the creators on that list. So,
Yes, there was no page rate for this project. People worked on it because they love ninjas, because they love making comics. This is a real passion project. And yeah, when we are successfully funded on Kickstarter, which I have no doubt will be successfully funded, but we want to try and get as many backers as possible. Really have, because we're very proud of this book. We want people to enjoy it, and then the creators will be compensated with extra copies that we're able to print from the Kickstarter funds. So yeah, if you love comics, this is a pretty good one to pick up, in my opinion.
yeah, and I'll say for those of you who are maybe thinking like, that doesn't sound like a very good deal, George. For somebody who is going to the comic cons regularly, which is sort of who you picked in your list, is people who can benefit directly from being in front of other people who love comics, having no publisher in the middle, taking a slice, having no distributor in the middle, taking a slice, having no comic store in the middle, taking a slice, a stack of the Ninja Versus graphic novels on your table that you're able to, as a creator, essentially get full ticket for, is actually a huge win. So that is the benefit to the creators in a way that is maybe not immediately obvious to someone who is new to comics. So the caution here, dear listener, is that if you're new to comics and someone calls you up and says, hey, you want to work for free on my project? Your answer should probably be no. Your general answer should probably be no. But if someone you've known for years says, hey, I've got a cool idea and we're all going to put our energy together and we're going to try and make it happen, are you in or are you out? That is a very different, like getting the band together, like calling, it's like Ninja Avengers Assemble is a different vibe.
Well, this model was kind of taken from other anthologies that I've been part of, and I've seen the benefit of. You're right, absolutely right. If you're doing conventions, then having a book with other creators, and we get them to sign the book. Every creator at the convention will sign the book. We'll even create maps of like, hey, if you go here, 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 and here, then we'll all like do a little doodle and in your book, and so it's like a little scavenger hunt for the customer at the convention, and it's a lot of fun for the um for our customers, and then it's also you have people coming to your table. And whenever you're a comic book creator at a comic book convention and you have people coming to your table seeking you out, that's a good thing.
An
And
important caveat here is like George, you and I, we're not famous people in comics. So every little thing that gets somebody to know your work and bring them to the table to expose them to something that we honestly, with our whole hearts, love making, is so good. We did this. You and I tabled at Calgary Comic Con most recently together, Calgary Expo, and we were both in the Dire Beast anthology, and the power of that, there were 13 of the Dire Beast creators were all present at that show. And so if someone bought from anyone, they got, you know, 12 free sketches and conversations and looked behind the curtain at 12 other creators. And if you're into comics and you're interested in that, it's such an easy passport into that world. That's kind of what I like about it, is that the short stories all have different styles. Ninja Versus, like, such a diversity of the kind of art in it, which would mean if you were interested in a variety of different storytelling styles, now you have a little passport to go and talk to all these different people about how the comics get made.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I had a blast at Calgary this year. It was actually my best show ever. So it was a new location too, with everybody in one building at the BMO Center, and the energy was electric. Like, I guess energy is electric. That's a weird thing to say, but no, it was
You
just like
felt
the
electric.
atmosphere was electric.
Mhm.
It was a lot of fun, and like, yeah, having people come up with the Dire Beast books consistently throughout the weekend, I think led to it being my best weekend ever. So that's kind of like the spirit of this, is like all of the creators that are participating in Ninja Versus are regulars on the comic book convention circuit. So you'll especially in Canada, you'll see a lot of us at the Canadian shows.
Yeah, go Canada.
I forgot to mention myself. I am writing and illustrating a story in
Wait,
YouTube
wait.
Versus.
Are you going to say what it is? Can I say what it is?
Yeah, go ahead.
So George, I asked him, I think by text message at one point, I'm like, "Are you putting a story?" And you drew a story for Dire Beast. It was the rule is that you couldn't participate unless you drew your own. And so he drew this story about basically a cat getting revenge on somebody. And it was pretty hilarious and fun. And I was like, "Oh, are you going to draw one for Ninja Versus?" And he goes, "Yes." And he sends me a picture of a ninja leaping at Santa Claus.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I did, is Ninja versus Santa Claus. And yeah, because the ninja's been bad, as you were alluding to earlier.
Oh, he's on the
Yeah,
naughty list.
yeah. And yes, I tie in, like, there's a lot of like missing scrolls and quest for scrolls, and I thought, well, like, the quest here could be to get off the naughty list.
That's ridiculous. I have to say though, if you think about it, Santa has all the appropriate ninja skills. He can get in and out of places without being seen, right? He has a whole clan of people waiting for him to help him on his missions. He has a cool red outfit, just like Jinx from G.I.
Yeah,
Joe,
that's true.
right?
Yes, I have Santa Claus saying, "You fool! No one out ninjas Santa."
Oh, no.
In battle. It's it's pretty hilarious and fun. He's got candy cane nunchucks.
I'm looking away in somewhat disbelief. I don't know if I feel like I wanna see that as, like, a hard R Christmas movie, or I wanna see it as a super funny, like, G-rated, just for kids, Santa saving Christmas with candy cane nunchucks. But I get to see it in Ninja Versus one way or another, I guess.
I like the claymation, like the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer style.
Oh my gosh. I wanna be a dentist!
Oh, God, I love being a turtle!
Yeah, so that's it. There's 10 stories in our Ninja book, and that was kind of how I met all the creators, and we started putting this thing together.
Well, an important feature of this project is, and comics in general, which I think is a nice way to wind a little Kusari Gamma around our story is that one comic story always leads to another one. So are any of these creators and you kicking around other stories for future projects, or has it I know one of them is already doing storyboards for you on your film, but what other things has this led to?
Well, truthfully, the movie is taking up like a lot of my a lot of my work hours. It's a massive project. This is my first movie that I've ever directed. I've done some short film stuff, but yeah, we're full steam ahead on the movie. We're prepping. We're filming in September, um, and it's a small budget, so it's a lot of. I'm working as a producer on it as well, and so it's a lot of organizing. There's a lot of people to hire for your crew and for your cast and locations to score, uh, props and wardrobe to like. There's so much to do behind the scenes when you're prepping a movie that's taking up a lot of my time. And then the other thing that I'm working on right now is I just launched my publishing company. It's called Resilient Press. It's an imprint through Renegade Arts Entertainment. And so my first graphic novel, Resilient, will be available wherever fine books are sold. Um, and you can find us you can go to the Renegade Arts or you just Google Resilient comic and we'll pop up and you can ask your local bookstore to order it in. So that's been taking a lot of my energy too, is kind of prepping the book for launch and reaching out to bookstores and telling them that they should bring in this project. Resilient is pretty dear to my heart because I wanted to tell a story about recovering from a major injury. I broke my back in 2014 in a big rollover on the Coquihalla, driving the mountains in Canada in the wintertime. And having that big accident is what inspired me to start making comic books. I'd always wanted to make comics, and I was really nervous about putting myself out there, just fear of rejection and that sort of thing. And so I never did. And then after that accident, I was like, you know what, life is short. Like that could have been it for me. And I was like, you know what, this is something I'm going to pursue. And so I made Resilience, where a lady loses a judo teacher loses her arm from moving landmines in Cambodia, and she has this tragic accident, and she has to kind of learn to live her life without her arms, which is um a lot more interesting than just having a back injury. But she does get these cybernetic prosthetics, and so she's got these robot arms. And her husband's sordid past comes back to haunt him, and she's got to go and rescue her man and kick all sorts of ass. And yeah, because I wanted to, as much as I wanted to tell a story about recovering from a major injury, I don't really like those type of stories. I don't like slow moving dramas. So I'm like, let's put this in like the 80s action movie type
What
stuff.
if
So
she
there's
had glossy pink cybernetic arms and kicked ass all the way through her recovery? This was
yes. Yeah, so that's the Resilient book. And so
so you came into comics swinging, basically.
yeah, and it was really uh fun experience making that book. That was my first time getting picked up by a publisher. It was originally released by Absolute Comics Group. They do the White Widow series. Um, Unfortunately, things didn't work out with Absolute. And
There's a
so
whole episode in the pause between those two things you said, but we will leave her that at this.
no, I don't want to be all negative, but sometimes things happen where you know best intentions don't work out. And yeah, so the only the first issue ever came out in stores, and it sold really well. And we have like some amazing covers by uh Andy Andy Belanger and Ali Garza, and Justice League artist Ed Bennis, who's just an incredible talent, and he's like a legend. And I was really, really psyched. I was distracted because I was staring at his piece of art on my wall.
Here,
I have
you want? He stared listfully off into the middle distance until I realized he was staring at the art. Yeah.
yeah.
George had an entire melodramatic movie sequence playing in his head for just a split second, and then he came back to the podcast.
Yeah. Ed Bennis is a legend, and I was very psyched. And so he does the cover for the graphic novel as well. And so yeah, the book's coming out in October. And so I've been between getting Ninja versus organized. So I'm writing on like 5 out of the 10 stories in the book, and then I illustrated one, and then getting everybody to get their pages turned in, creating the Kickstarter, shooting the video. That took some time, and then the movie prep. The movie prep's been massive.
Crazy, crazy.
That's
There's
been
a
a year.
video I saw recently of Orson Welles. Orson Welles was once asked, "Do you have any regrets in your life?" And he said, "Oh, of course, I have so many regrets. I don't people who say I have no regrets in life, I don't understand them. I have so many regrets." And when he was asked what his biggest regret was, he said it was that he fell in love with movies. And the thing about being in love is it doesn't matter how it hurts you. You just keep doing it. Right? So I was thinking about that as we both stepped over that little story about the beginning of Resilience career, right? It's like, it doesn't matter how it hurts you. Like, it's the comic that you love. And so whatever obstacle is in the way, you're going to try and get it out into the world because, you know, as silly as that content was, we swing it back around to our 80s, 90s love of ninjas. We only remember the best parts. And if we go back and watch that, you know, and if nostalgia just brings us back in time, probably we will see it for the schlock that all that stuff was. But the stuff that inspired, the stuff that can inspire a young person to be like, oh, this is cool. I want to make something also that makes me feel this way. Right. This is the stuff that keeps us going. And I would encourage dear listeners not to spend all their time going backwards into their collections, but go as forward into the diverse world of comics as it exists today and look for new stuff out on the stands, out on people's Kickstarters, track them down on their own social medias. There's so many cool books being made that do not have wide distribution. So the only way to find them is to go look for them.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can find at comic book conventions too. And uh, you're wandering the aisles, and you know, I think some people can kind of be weary, or like if you're really like you're into your Marvel or DC stuff, and it's like, okay, I came here to meet Todd McFarlane, and that's your mission. That's awesome. But
Worthy goal,
like,
by the way.
yeah, then but don't discount the other creators just because you haven't heard of them. Like, take a look, because you'll be blown away at the talent, and at even at like smaller shows. You go to like some of these small conventions where there's maybe there's a hundred tables at it, and you're just going around. You'll meet somebody that's like local, and it's like, wow, this is it. One thing that's kind of neat is like you think like all these amazing things are happening in like Los Angeles or New York, or go around like your small town, and like there's very cool stuff happening everywhere. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I wonder if, I definitely agree with that. And, we've both been to those places and we know that I think what happens is it seems like that talent, like in New York or San Diego, it seems to all concentrate in those places. If you go to Emerald City, they're like concentrated, but it's simply because there's such big populations, people have to shout so loud to be noticed. And so it feels like everyone's shouting at the same time, and so all that talent is there. But in smaller cities, people don't have to shout as loud. So they're just quietly working on their incredible stuff. I think there's the same percentage of people doing cool things everywhere. But there just aren't as many places to find them, and there aren't people immediately Googling them to track them down to their local art show like George.
Well, it's a lot of your personality too, right? Like a lot of creators are, we work at home, and and do our things in our weird little studios, and and then when it's time to like go do a show, or like a convention, or wherever you're selling your work, um it can be hard to put yourself out there because you're not used to you know selling yourself like that. But that's one thing where I've been lucky to like, I had to make that decision, especially like coming as a writer and commissioning artists to do my books. It's like, well, now it's like my time to like try and like recoup some of my investment in this project. Like, I can't just like sit here and like twiddle my thumbs and hope someone comes talk to me. Like I need to engage with the crowd as they're walking by and pull people over. And it leads to a lot of people saying, "Hey, thanks for stopping me. Like I am picking up my book." It also leads to people being like, "Man, you're kind of weird." Like, why did you ask me if I like monsters? Like, just leave me be. But it does lead to, creating a fan base is just they're talking to people, just stopping people and saying, "Hey, like, can I tell you about my book?" and getting into it. And I'm really hoping that people come to Ninja Verses. There's creators that have been around for a long time, and they're kind of featured on the page, talking about like John Delaney, who worked on Justice League, and Francine, and Sean Daly, and yourself, who've been like around for a while, and people are familiar with them. But there's new creators too, like Hannah, who just finished animation school, or Brooks, who's this is his first like interior pages of a comic book, and he killed it. And like it's really, really great work. And so I hope people will show up for this book and check it out, because it is really fun, but it's also like a good spotlight of like a lot of talent. And I'd like to say also that like I know like people supporting Canadian content is really big right now, especially with what's going on in the world. Well, 9 of our creators live in Canada. Um, Francine and Ito uh, live and work in Vancouver. They're originally from Costa Rica. So 9 out of the 10 of us are living and working in Canada. And I think that if you want to support Canadian, this is a good project for that too.
Um, ninjas move quietly, but Kickstarters have to be loud. So, you have our apologies if you are somebody who has been following, dear listener, either of our social media accounts, because we will probably inundate you with a lot of ninja content over the next few weeks. Um, but then once it's funded, we will slip back into the shadows, and you can find Ninja Verses at one of our tables near you. George, thank you so much for being on the show. This has been Super Pulp Science. This is Jim B. Kamichek, encouraging you all to join the fight and make comics.